Hello, welcome to TSC Talks Virtual Holiday Market. My name is Jill Woodworth and I am your host. You've been seeing a lot of me. Today I am here with Elisabeth Mack of Holistic. She's the founder of Holistic Caring. She's a RN, BSN, MBA. She has an extensive background, holy mackerel. She spent a decade in hospitals where she specialized in psychiatry, diabetes and medical units. She spent 20 years prior to Holistic Caring in operations and sales management in several health insurance carriers, and believes cannabinoid medicine offers our best chance at healing, comfort, and wholeness in a more holistic, economical, and empowering way. She is here to talk about her program, and she's an author. She has a book, CBD Health Coaches, and she's here to explain her program and talk about her experience. And I'm just going to stop talking and say thank you for being on.
Well, thank you so much, Jill. It's a pleasure to be here and to participate in this holiday market and to just spread the good news about what several people are working on. And, you know, with this pandemic, I like to talk about a little bit as much as possible post-traumatic growth, right? All of us have to continuously evolve and become new and find new ways to do things. And so a holiday market to get people's businesses and what our passions are, and to really talk about how we're serving people in a different way, you know, serving society's unmet needs. We were talking in the setup here about, you know, rare diseases and people that are struggling with different things and how to approach care differently. And, you know, when we're talking about cannabis case management and the things that I'm working in, it's an evolution. And, you know, we all get here through a process. I've been working in cannabis medicine now the last 6 years, but that's like when I got into it and found that it was so healing, right? Because and most of us early pioneers start by healing ourselves, right? Because there's things that I'm 55 now and I'm in the best shape of my life. But, you know, 5-6 years ago, I was struggling and I was taking a bunch of pharmaceuticals and finding myself getting sicker, just like most Americans. 1 out of 2 of us have a chronic condition. And, you know, we're spending $3.5 trillion in healthcare costs. And what are we getting? You know, we're still
getting
struggling. Yeah. So yeah, I hope some of you have watched my video talking about holistic caring and a little bit about my story, but I have been a nurse 34 years, Bachelor of Science in Nursing, Bachelor of Arts in Psychology. I spent my first decade in hospitals and then migrated over to insurance when I got my MBA in healthcare administration, because I like to see the big picture and work on policy things and how to develop new alternatives. But I ended up helping brokers sell insurance and employee benefits. And, you know, as I mentioned, it gets to be somewhat, I loved Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act, but it didn't really go far enough in protecting the people. The insurance companies did real well, but the patients, you know, lost benefits, got higher premiums, restricted coverage and networks. And it was really an interesting time. And I saw, you know, firsthand that healthcare is broken. It's just really broken. And when I myself I've had 3 shoulder surgeries. So I went out on leave to have shoulder surgery because I crashed my bicycle. That's how I got into this.
Really?
And, a couple of weeks after surgery, I went to my chiropractor's office. She was working on my neck. But my 3rd shoulder surgery, you know, was new ligaments. And, so that the medical massage therapist was working out my shoulder and what she was using smelled funny. And I said, hey, what is this? And she goes, there's CBD in the oil. It's cannabis. And I said, well, I don't want cannabis. And she said, well, it's going to soothe down that inflammation and help the pain and maybe heal things faster and get you back to going, you know, back to work faster. And I said, okay, sign me up and tell me more. And so from that instant, I knew I wanted to do something else. It was just, you know, like one of those God moments. And so I went to the library. I checked out every book I could on cannabis, and I started to sign up for online things that I found, like projectcbd.org. And then I found the Society of Cannabis Clinicians, and I found the American Cannabis Nurses Association. And this is, you know, all the beginning of 2015. And so I just started to look into all of this. And I went to the pot doc. I got my card. I went to the dispensaries and I started to take CBD. And back then, well, and that was the whole impetus for holistic caring. You go to a dispensary, like, I've got my card, and here's what's wrong with me. I'd like to not take so much Motrin, muscle relaxants. I've got migraines. I don't sleep really well. I was widowed at the time. I was very depressed. I had a lot of things going on, and asthma. And I had a lot of cautionary things. And I'm like, so how do I best use cannabis as medicine? Because I don't really want to be high. I just want to use it as medicine. And I hear that it can do all these things. And, 2015, nobody could tell you about that. Well, you go to a dispensary in San Diego still today, and they're still not going to be able to tell you about that. They're going to tell you what's on special. They're going to tell you what products they need to move, and how high you can get in some of the experiences that some of the people have relayed to them as they come back in and buy something new. So, but the truth is that cannabinoids are facilitators to greater health, and they can help us to really achieve our best health status, but we also have to do the work. Yeah. So, lifestyle medicine is really functional medicine. What are we eating? How can we shift to an anti-inflammatory diet? Can we get ourselves moving? How do we get out of pain enough to start moving? Because the body truly is use it or lose it. How do we stimulate our brain? How do we engage and connect and speak up and set boundaries? How do we work on our spiritual path? And so this is the trajectory that I took. And, I use cannabinoids as facilitators. I use the CBD to soften those pain signaling and lower the inflammation in my body so I could move again. And then I started to bike again. And then I started to do more floor yoga. And I used vaping so that I could do the yoga, because otherwise I couldn't be on the floor doing what I wanted to do, lifting weights, doing my dumbbells. I don't go to a gym anymore. I have my floor and I have my bike. That's all I need, and some dumbbells. And but so I learned, and physical therapy and the bands and all those things. Yeah. But when you're rehabbing a shoulder, and this wasn't the first injury. 1994 was the first injury where I got injured with a patient, and at that surgery, the orthopedic surgeon took an inch of my clavicle out, and that grew back wrong. And so my right shoulder has always been sort of internally rotated, and it screwed up my neck. And I have like 3 pinched nerves and stenosis that I'm never going to, get rid of. Right. And I didn't want neck surgery. So that's why I was taking high doses of Motrin. But what I found is that over that period of year, 2015 to 16, I got off almost all the medicines. Almost all of them. Yeah. And, I still take a Motrin here or there every couple of days, but it's nothing like 200 milligrams versus 2000 milligrams. Right. There's a big variance. And now what's that doing in saving the short and long-term consequences of those drugs in my body? I'm not having the risk of GI bleeds. I'm not having the hypertension and the swelling and all of the other things that those cause. So, I found a way to heal myself. And then I said, you know what, I've got to help other people. And so I went to Women Grow in Denver, National Convention, January of 16. And I said, people are making medicines, people are selling medicines, but still nobody's interpreting them for patients. So I hung out my shingle in May of 2016 as Holistic Caring to do case management with generally seniors. I found a palliative care physician that was in the San Diego Business Journal doing some innovative new programs of integrative medicine. And I said, hey, you want a cannabis nurse? And he said, yes. So that's how I got started. And so I'd see his patients who were 80-year-olds that were on polypharmacy at end of life, and weaning them off of some of the opiates and giving them more clarity and presence with their family as they were, making their way out of this life, and giving them much better days and energy. So it was amazing. So anyway, I basically was the go-between, helping these patients he'd write the recommendations, and then I'd help them get their medicines from the dispensaries and then dose them and work with them on a case-by-case basis. And then this started growing, and I wrote a training manual to bring on other nurses. And so this is, from all of my research plus the case management that I was doing. And that training manual then years later became my book. So Cannabis for Health, Become a Coach. And so the book, basically then became the course. And the course is what I wrote the Holistic Caring Cannabis Health Coaching Program, and that is to onboard other healthcare practitioners or people of every stripe that have a healthcare background. Because when I think about, okay, what's the competition for us doing case management with these people, these patients, it's the dispensary staff, and they're not sitting down helping people look at an assessment. And that what I think needs to happen in the whole cannabis industry is to build this medical door where the medical process is there. So we do an assessment. What are we looking to do? What are the goals and objectives of that patient? What is the best way to accomplish that? What do they have in there? And with medicine, it's always, what do you need to take away and what do you need to add? Right. So we need to get them moving. We need to give them better nutrition. We need to get them speaking up and having some spiritual path. But we also need to get them out of pain and lift some of the depression and maybe treat the gut or inflammatory or immune issues or nervous system issues, tremors, and and so these cannabinoids are body, mind, spirit, and they can help all of this, but people don't know where to start.
Right.
So we start them off and then we make a plan, right? So assessment, then you plan, then you decide what you're going to do, and then you implement that plan. And then that's the adjustments. That's the helping people learn how to read their body and tune in and understand cause and effect. If I take this tincture, what does that do for me? If I have a puff off that 1-to-1, what does that do for me? And now how do I use that to accomplish my health objectives? And then evaluation and tracking. So then you go back every couple of weeks and you make modifications to that and say, okay, what do I need to add, and what do I need to take away, and how do I progress through this? So I wrote programs for patients to take them through this, and assessment forms and patient teaching where I lead them through. Okay, that's on the patient side, and then you have to explain the endocannabinoid system and say, here's why cannabinoids work in the body. You have receptors in your body that are tagged to all of these functions and physiologies, from the nervous system to the immune system to the GI to the musculoskeletal. All of our systems are connected, and they have the fine tuning with endocannabinoids, basically finding that Goldilocks zone or the homeostasis at the cellular level. So we can affect change working with the ECS. And so they have to understand that just like you could have a deficiency in vitamin D, you can have a deficiency in your endocannabinoid system, and supplementing with these phytocannabinoids that mimic the endocannabinoids. Now we can bring ourselves back to balance. And so it's a dance of how to do this so that you maximize the benefits, minimize the harms. And so that's what my programs are all about. And then I've made specific things that talk about how to treat cannabis and cancer, cannabis and psychiatric issues, Parkinson's and MS, cannabis and Alzheimer's, cannabis and managing chronic pain and weaning off opiates if that's your goal, which it should be. So I wrote all these patient programs, and then now I'm training people that are health coaches to be able to have these conversations and take everything that I've built and written and use in their own work through a licensing program. So the Holistic Caring Cannabis Health Coaching Program is like a franchise. So they get the course, they get the comprehensive curriculum, and then they get a toolkit of forms so that they can do this as a business.
Nice.
They teach their patients and presentations so they can go out and literally just as soon as they feel competent and they like to speak, go out and present the Cannabis 101 in the community where they're at. And literally buy a business in a box. So that's what I've created. And we're just at the precipice of this. And it's just so exciting to think about changing the healthcare system so that all of these things I built for patients and nurses over the years can now play forward to really build this medical door. Because the issue in cannabis still, especially here in Southern California, is it's not medicalized whatsoever. It's all about fun and recreation and high doses of THC.
Yeah, it's similar in Massachusetts, I would say. Yeah. Wow. I want to give you like a round of applause. That's just amazing. What you developed, you just like committed to it and put together what is really needed. I think I talk a lot about how broken, the broken system, disconnected systems, as a parent, go navigating with children that are, need a lot of care. You really, over time, you really see that. And just the idea that you can get from cannabis, the mind, body, spirit component is just, I don't know, it's awesome. So that you're putting this all together, I love it. So yeah, continue.
And so, with that, let me share my screen and I'm going to go through the program real quick since we have the opportunity to do so.
Yeah.
And
please.
Let me just go over to here. All right. And let me get out of Facebook here. I went on here to check things out and see this, but okay. So yeah, let's just start with my website. So holisticcaring.com is the main site. And if you go to the coach courses and you go to the licensed coach course details, I'm redoing the website so that it's a little more clear. But essentially, this is what I've built for people to become a cannabis health coach. And so it's a big comprehensive program. There's 10 components to the licensing program. There's a 30-unit comprehensive study, which I'll show you in a minute, a toolkit, updates that are coming for the patient modules as I'm writing them, networking and community forums, a monthly mastermind where we're deep diving into clinical case studies, products, best practices. People that are in the licensing program get to use the logo and of course all of the IP, and they get to call themselves a certified holistic caring cannabis CBD health coach. We have a marketing business directory that we're coming online so that all of the coaches that we have trained are then going to be posted on the website so that people can go to holisticcaring.com and find a coach in their neighborhood. And then these coaches need great vetted CBD. So, there's no end in sight to a lot of the crap that's out there being sold in the gas stations that is CBD isolate from who knows where. But people need access to good vetted whole plant formulations that are symptom targeted. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then getting set up. I'm offering a discount today to anybody that wants to become a holistic caring cannabis health coach. Give me a call. I will one-on-one with you and get you involved on how to do this. And then affiliate opportunities. We need help expanding this into the greater ethos of American healthcare. So we're doing an affiliate program for people that want to help us promote this. Back to you. So, and then there's another one that for people that don't need the toolkit and needing to do this as a business, I wrote one that's just the course and a brief toolkit. And, I had my lawyer write up for any of those folks that are in a medical state that are, we have 36 medical states now for cannabis and 15 recreational. But a lot of people that are doing this as a practice, they need to have people sign off something saying that this is educational in nature. This is not a provider-patient relationship. There are disclosures. This is still a Schedule I drug. You can, be fined and go to jail if you're not doing this properly, etc. So, people need all of that, and then the basic patient teaching and that sort of thing. So that is with and without the license. And then I have a mini course, which I have taken out the pharmacology and made the medical conditions much shorter. So it's a little bit easier to approach. And I say this one is for dispensary staff training, as well as anybody that is interested in going into the medical cannabis or CBD industry. That's like, where do I start? How do I approach this from a medical standpoint and figure out, what I might want to do in the marketplace? So those are the 3 courses. And then as far as patients, we have a full-on consulting program that we're doing one-on-one with patients. We're really not doing any in-person appointments right now, but we do direct one-on-one counseling with patients across America. So our remote consultations, you just book here, choose one of the nurses, you get 90 minutes of cannabis education, a treatment plan, all that stuff that I was talking about, how to add functional medicine and lifestyle medicine, how to do tracking, all of the forms and booklets that you need to do that. And then that includes a follow-up call in a couple weeks after they get their medicines and start them to see how they're working. And then we have follow-up calls and a fast and friendly that's just $15. And or $50. And then we're innovating the digital appointments, which is what I'm most excited about, where I record a lecture, give them all of those slides and lecture notes, along with our patient appointments in the digital workbook. And then that way people can do it yourself. And those are going to go on sale in the next couple of weeks, where you can watch that whole thing with your family and friends and know what to do. Yeah, and then I have a medical cannabis primer, which is basically my ebook, and then the clinician's kit. So if somebody doesn't want to go through the whole program, but they need some forms and disclosures and that sort of thing, we have that. And then here's my book. So yeah, everything started with this book. And from the book, I created these courses. So this is my network. It's called the Mighty Network. And this is where we do our masterminds and we have our forums. But we have these 3 separate courses. So the full licensing program with the toolkit, just the course and a mini toolkit, and then the educator. So I'm just going to amuse you with a few minutes of going through the actual course material, so that people can see what they might be in for if they do want to take this licensing program. So the first part of it, is all the setup and the licensing and the introductions. And a lot of these have videos. This is the lovely Tasha Jackson. She is my course designer initially, but now she's VP of Program Development, and she helped me put this all together. Tasha spent the last decade in education. She's got her master's in education. She's a teacher, done a lot of primary teaching, as well as ESL and other things like that. But then, if we go into the actual course, there's videos throughout here that I've created, but each one has modules, right? And so module 1 is the basics, right? Like the history of cannabis, and how we lost this plant, how it got to be a Schedule 1, how it got prohibited back in the 20s. Essentially, and it was all racism. It's a lot of our, societal issues that we still face today had the underpinnings in the beginning of time. Yeah. There's always been, but literally we lost cannabis as a medicine. It was in our pharmacopoeia when most of the Caucasians had switched over to the pharmaceuticals, the single molecule pills. And the black and brown skinned people in America were still using cannabis. They were making extracts. They were smoking, which was really frowned upon by the prohibitionists. And when alcohol lost prohibition and became legal again, they took all of those resources and put them into marijuana and demonized it. And that's how it became initially illegal. And that was kind of the beginning and the end of a lot of health conditions. They say autism really started to happen. Neurodegenerative conditions started to happen after the 1937 Marijuana Tax Act, because they took hemp out of our food supply. Animals were grazing on it, and because of that, we had cannabinoids in our food, and then we lost all of it, and we started to get sick. It's crazy stuff, but you'll learn good stuff in here. And then the Cannabis Research. Okay, this is a picture of Dr. Raphael Meshulam that I actually took myself at CanMed last year.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. He's 90 now. And he's the one that isolated and synthesized THC. And then 20 years later was able to put it into the body with radioactive imaging. And we light up like Christmas trees when cannabinoids get into the body. And then he discovered the endocannabinoid system with all of the other scientists. And he's still in Jerusalem working on this stuff. But so going into the research and how it works and everything about the endocannabinoid system. Then I go into all the cannabinoids, the phytocannabinoids, the synthetic cannabinoids that we've made, FDA pharmaceutical cannabinoids like Marinol and Epidiolex. We have pharmaceuticals that are approved, that are standardized, but the whole plant botanical formulations work better. So we can talk about those, and then all into the terpenes and the testing processes and extraction, and then the pharmacology. What is an agonist and an antagonist and an allosteric modulator, and how does CBD and THC really affect the body, and what potency do we need, and what are the pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics of this plant. And then we take up all the products and the modes and the types, the routes of administration. What is the difference between inhalation, oral ingestion, topical, transdermal, suppositories, and sublingual dosing, and how do we use each one? And then what is the dosing of that? What is symptom management and palliative dosing versus curative dosing? And how do we really use these phytocannabinoids in clinical practice? And then the medicalized approach, again, taking that assess, plan, implement, evaluate, and then what do we need to know about this? What are the side effects and the safety considerations? How do you talk to your provider, and why do you need to talk to your provider? Because they need to be able to be responsible to wean those pharmaceuticals that you might not need anymore in those same dosages. And then fine print, addressing dependency, withdrawal, tolerance breaks, all of the things and legal ramifications. So that's module 1.
Wow.
And then if we go, right? That's just getting started.
Oh no, it's great. I love it.
Yeah. And then so module 2 is, all of the therapeutic overviews. So, we talk about, how this works as medicine for neurological conditions. And then I break that out into epilepsy and autism, really focusing on kids. And then geriatrics. So, seniors truly have the most to gain from cannabinoid medicines because, they get polypharmacy and when you look at, medicines for pain and sleep and anxiety and inflammation and gut issues and nervous system issues, you could use all of them, or you could use cannabis.
Right.
And geriatrics benefit the most from this. And that's, as I explained what I did in my early years. And then I break that out into, movement disorders, MS, Parkinson's, and then Alzheimer's, which is a big course. And the Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and MS are now going to be launched as patient modules. And the crazy thing is, the morning that I was recording the patient module a couple of days ago for Alzheimer's, I got a call from a care facility where a nurse basically said, hey, I just got a patient that is now prescribed Seroquel. The family is very worried about it. The first side effect is death. It has a black box warning, especially in utilization for Alzheimer's and dementia. Can cannabis work? And I'm like, boy, do you need this patient module.
Yeah.
Going to be an hour lecture, all of the notes on exactly how to do this, the slides that you can study, and all the resources that I wrote with that. And then that digital workbook with specifically how to dose for Alzheimer's.
Oh, wow.
So that,
Fabulous.
and then mental health, anxiety, depression, PTSD, bipolar schizophrenia, ADD, focus, neurogenesis, and how to apply new learning. And then also healing the gut. A lot of mental health issues are all about the gut, and everything is. And then metabolism, inflammation. Do you know that cannabinoids can stimulate, reduce insulin sensitivity, or stimulate it, and help blood sugar metabolism? And people over a long period of time might be able to wean down off some of the insulin and anti-diabetics that they're taking. Of course, blood pressure and cardiovascular and statins. How much of that do they need if they're having whole plant botanical cannabinoids and whole food diets? That's the point on all of this, is pairing it with that lifestyle medicine and getting people to feel better to do that. And then everything all about cannabis and cancer. And so, cannabis can be anti-tumor properties, anti-cancer, anti-proliferative. It inhibits angiogenesis of the cancer cells. But all of that's preclinical. But we do know that, people can use this to get themselves through chemotherapy and radiation. And cannabinoids can be used as an adjunct. And so we teach them how to do that. Pain management, weaning off of opiates, and why cannabinoids work for pain. And then this is all of the functional medicine and holistic health. So that's module 2. And then module 3 is the scope and standards and everything that we need to know to really put this into American healthcare. What are the costs? None of this is covered by insurance. One of these days I'm going to go back in and build this into the cost of care somehow. Once cannabinoids are standardized, reliable, consistent, and you've got good manufacturing practices and generally recognized as safe processes that we're doing to really make this medicine comparing and contrasting with the pharmaceuticals, and then where you look at it and you vet it based on side effects, safety, efficacy, and costs. How do we build this in? And it's not too far away. Up in Canada, they are covering this now as insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
So then patient consideration. So we've got 36 legal states now. What's a qualifying condition? What's the process? How do you get into the system? Is this a medication or supplement? This is one of the arguments. Should the FDA be regulating this like medicines, or should it be a botanical supplement? And the answer obviously is both. And it's all going to be based on dosing. But and then shopping. How do you go to a dispensary? How do you vet the CBD that you're finding online? How do you know what good medicine is? How do you talk to people at the dispensary? You need to go in there with a list. You need to look at the medicines that they have on their online menu before you even get there, so that you can see what the focus is of that dispensary. Is it all wax and shatter and dabs, or is there tinctures and topicals and microdosed edibles? So and then for providers, how do you use this in different levels of care? Obviously, you can't bring it into a hospital. Even Ryan's Law, where we're looking at trying to add it into hospice and palliative care settings, that was vetoed, but hopefully it's going to come back this year and be approved so that we can expand this. But long-term care facilities and some of these places where, again, seniors can benefit the most, but can they use it? How is it dosed for them? And talking about some of the different demonstration projects that are going on. Hebrew House up in New York is using this, and patients have to administer it themselves. They're all pretty lucid. They have to pay for it themselves, and the average cost up in New York for a month of tinctures is $200. So you have to financially qualify for it. But there are facilities that are doing this. And then scope and standards for practitioners and providers. This talks about the different nursing organizations, CNN, ACNA, the Society of Cannabis Clinicians, the Association of Cannabis Specialists, advocacy and opportunities. So we talk about, the beginnings of how this was always an advocacy movement. This is a patient-directed movement, but now it's morphing into a whole new industry. We're talking $25 billion today, projections of $50 billion within 5 years in this industry. And, what does that look like? And how do we become stewards of the process to really, institute what needs to happen for health and wholeness for patients and opportunities and social equity programs and, undoing all of the racial problems that we've had with the war on drugs and expunging all of the records so that people can come out of prisons and get jobs and participate in society and all the rights and responsibilities that entails. So there's a lot about that. And then all of the business aspects of cannabis health coaching and how do you weave this into your practice right now. So, my idea is that I'm going to be training acupuncturists, chiropractor, naturopath, people that are already doing functional medicine with their patients. Now they can bring in cannabinoids and really help people heal, but they've already got a practice. So how do you just bring this into that and then, use the coaching framework of, really getting to that patient's psyche. I like to ask people, tell me what you want to do next summer. Okay, what's in the way? How do we get that so that you are fired up to achieve your goals and objectives? And that's coaching is different than it's not take a pill. It's how do we make you have your best life? And then the regulatory environment. This is all about people that want to get into the industry. How do you understand licensing? How do you go to your state Bureau of Cannabis, whatever it's called in your state, and understand cultivation, extraction, manufacturing, distribution, testing, micro businesses, and all of the different steps along the food chain of the cannabis industry, and then all of the networking and resources that you could ever want, links from everything. And then you've got a certification exam, although there are quizzes at the end of every.
I was going to ask.
And then nurses get 12 CEs for going through that whole course.
Awesome.
Whole course, they get 8 CEs. So it's a hell of a venture that I've built here, huh?
Wow, that must have taken a lot of time and energy and passion poured into that. It's just exceptional.
Yeah, it's
you've really encompassed everything, that I could think of and more.
Well, right. And then when you graduate and you get your little certificate, you need a toolkit, right? Okay. So I actually break down 90-minute appointment protocols because, from the start to the finish, 90 minutes goes by like that. And if you're a new cannabis coach, you got to know, like, how long do I spend on each of these things? I actually broke it down in 10-minute increments. So like exactly how to do the appointment process, all the disclosures and liability waivers that I've had my attorneys write up years ago, the short and long form assessments. Are you going to be spending 20 minutes with somebody or are you going to be spending 2 hours with them? The assessment process matters. And then what do you turn around and teach them? I literally gave them everything that they can scroll through in their iPad or laptop. Then I talk about the different routes and administration and pharmacokinetics on that. Then I talk to them about tracking. So this is a tracking log, 1 to 10. Where are we at today on pain, anxiety, memory, focus, mood, energy levels, blood pressure, blood sugar, and then tracking dosing, resources for patients, what books they should be reading. This formulary literally breaks down CBD and THC dosing for all of the products that are on a California dispensary shelf, as well as diagnosing conditions and looking at how to modulate specific conditions like Alzheimer's. What receptors do you want to target? What products do you want to use? What are the initial dosing regimes for those products? And even what are the estimated costs of all of those products? So I literally have an Excel document with a treatment plan across the board for every one of those conditions. And then a care plan that you could literally just insert your guidance in the front of it. The rest of it is all functional medicine tips on how to incorporate cannabinoid medicine with everything else they need to do. This is my ebook, the Cannabis Primer, that they get so that they can have that. And then the Quick Start Guide is how to start a business. So this is literally like, say I get a nurse that's been in the hospital for 30 years. She retires and she's like, I want to do this. How do I hang out my own shingle and start a business? The Quick Start Guide tells you how to go to the city, how to get a business license, how to start a website, how to get accounting and looking at the different systems, how to do SEO, how to do basic marketing and getting business cards and all of that stuff. And then this is the Community 101 presentation so that somebody can go out and give a quick 30 slide talk. And then this is the script for that. And then even a download. So when I go and I speak somewhere, I like to give people a free gift. And this is like a little 2 to 3 page cliff notes on cannabis medicine. So I even give them the guide that they can give away after they talk. And then a marketing presentation so that literally they can just print off that, change my name to their name, and then go out and present that in their neighborhood. So, that's about it. I have to thank my team. I couldn't do this alone. I have Jana Champagne is my VP of Clinical Research. She's going to be always boosting and enhancing our curriculum. And then Sherry is our VP of Sales, also running our CBD marketplace. She's spent the last 25 years in natural products. And this is Tasha, who is my program developer. So, with that, I'll just
That's
go
amazing.
Yeah.
I'm blown away. It's just got everything that you need. And people do ask, people ask, how do you get into this business? How do you, and it's there's so many pieces of it, but you really pulled them all together. How has it been with getting people into this? How's it going with?
Well, so I just got an investor and I just got real marketing. And so we're doing marketing and PR, but people can't sign up if they don't know. right? And so that's why I'm so excited to do something like this, but I'm really just starting. We're really having, a 1-1 launch. We launched the main course in July, and then the educator course in August, and have been making some refinements to things along the way, but we're really just having that initial push. The licensing program is basically $1,000 for all of that curriculum, plus the license, plus the toolkit. It's $1,100. We have it on sale for $9.99, 10% off on the website, and we're giving another 10% off today, so you can get it all for $880 instead of $1,100. So 20% off. Contact me directly. Just email me, Elisabeth with an S at holisticcaring.com, and we'll get you enrolled at a discount. The course is $499, and the educator course is $299. So it's all approachable. The patient modules are going to be $100. So like if you want to learn about cannabis and Alzheimer's, you're going to get the entire recorded presentation, the slides, and a digital workbook on how to specifically apply this. So that is, you pair that with one of our fast and friendlies where you get a 20-minute nurse visit and you can dial it in like that. So, so this is all new. So just consider January 1st, our new launch date. And, we're going to, see what we can do.
That's great. Yeah, I will share this with as many people as I know. And, anybody watching wants more information, you know where to go now. And you can reach out to me too. I'll shoot you over to Elisabeth. And yeah, what a resource. I'm thrilled to learn about it. Yeah, truthfully.
Yeah, and I think, probably one of the biggest value differentials that Holistic Caring has in our approach is that this isn't just a course. There's lots of little certification courses out there. There's great programs. Healer.com is one of my favorite. Dustin Sulak in Maine. He has wonderful programs. I've taken all of them.
Have you?
So, like everything that I've ever gone through is part of this course, right? But, giving people the toolkit and the business in a box to dial it in, plus the monthly mastermind webinars and access to me being in this business for the last 6 years, the CBD marketplace, getting them the best that they could carry in their practice. Or mobile practice, whatever they want to do, and then affiliate links so that they can make sure that, because literally the medicine is what heals people, but you can't heal with medicine that's subpar. So, how do we get people medicine that's actually going to work? And, dialing that in. And then starting also in January here in California, I'm partnering with a company called Green Relief, and they have a non-storefront delivery license. So we're going to be really starting with their manufacturing up in Desert Hot Springs. And then the owners live in Orange County, and I'm down in San Diego. So imagine this Southern California triangle of programs where we're going to actually have live events. And I'm going to go out and speak in like 50 plus community centers and some of these, gated home communities and golf clubs and things like that. Because, really, again, going back to seniors, they have the most to gain with this. And starting at like 45, 50 years old, when you just start like me, when I crashed my bike and I was 49, I was on a dozen different pharmaceuticals.
Were you?
And, how do we get people at that age and then everything all the way up? Like my youngest patient is 8, my oldest is 104.
Holy crap.
We're going to be doing programs that are CBD for 50 plus 101 and by webinars, and then having an offer where they can get a discount on CBD for that day. And we'll be talking about some of the Unity formulas and Green Relief formulas that are going to be on sale nationally for CBD, and having special offers like cannabis and anxiety. And we'll work on the anxiety formulas, or daytime and nighttime pain, and talk about the variants in terpenes and that sort of thing. And, in California, we'll have access to all of the THC lines. So, we could do full on dosing with Holistic Caring being the nursing organization, because now I have a bunch of nurses also that is doing the nurse line to talk to people one-on-one on the phone. So we're going to pair the best medicines together with programs and then get that delivery to patients in California. So I'm really excited to build this medical door.
Oh, it's amazing. I had a question. So if you're in another state, as far as the licensure, are there any legal issues or that you can think of if somebody from another state wanted to, obviously wanted to take the course and?
Oh, for the healthcare practitioners, look, the horse has left the barn. This is going to be right now. There's medical programs in 36 states,
right?
But you can work with CBD in all 50 states. Idaho is a little dicey,
okay.
But literally, even all of the red states are starting to adopt. In this last election, we picked up 5 more recreational programs across America. So,
it's coming.
With respect to patients, we have access, and the nurses go to weedmaps.com or Leafly, finds the dispensary where that patient lives, and we can help them to go to that dispensary and buy what they need right where they are.
That's right? Great. Beautiful.
With CBD, you can ship across all the state lines. And for anybody that's a healthcare professional, your patients want to know this. Your patients want to learn this, and they're going to start looking to you to understand this. So don't be part of the problem saying there's not enough clinical trials. There's no human studies yet because of the Schedule 1 restrictions. They're studying it in Israel, and we have all kinds of best practices to learn from there. But healthcare professionals across America, they need to understand that they can learn this and apply it to their practice, and just start with it as a seed, right? Just have the underpinnings of knowledge that you need to understand the endocannabinoid system and why this works, and about the different products and the routes, so that when the patient comes into your office and says, hey, I'm using 50 milligrams of CBD oil a day, and here's what I'm finding, that they'll be able to have an intelligent conversation with that patient.
And not shame or guilt them and try to prescribe another pharmaceutical.
Right.
Yeah. Are you required to be at a certain, you probably covered this, I'm sure you did, at a certain level with a healthcare professional, or is it any healthcare profesal? Any healthcare professional? Right.
I'm a nurse, and that's why I have the continuing education for nurses. And there's 5 million nurses in this country. So, any of them can start this. But just like cannabinoids are an adjunct to traditional medications and therapies and treatments, cannabinoid medicine is an adjunct to healthcare professionals. So you're still going to be an acupuncturist or a naturopath or a chiropractor or a medical doctor, but you're going to know this in conjunction with everything else and bridge it together for the patients to give them optimal healing and optimized treatment plans. So it's an adjunct. This is, I remember when my husband first died, I was really a wreck, and I went to community meditations that I got through a meetup group, and it was in a Buddhist church, and I really took to it, and I loved it, and I went every week for this hour meditation. And I remember early on talking to my mother, because I call her every Sunday, and I'm like, I'm so happy going to these Buddhist meditations. She goes, but I thought you were a Christian. Why don't you want to be a Christian anymore? I'm like, Mom, it's an and. It's an and.
Yeah, I love it.
It's an and. And that's what cannabinoid medicine is. It's an and. Whether you're a provider or a patient, it's an and.
Totally. And when do you see it becoming integrated into the medical school system? Do you see that coming? I mean, this course could just be plugged in right there.
Right.
But
well, yeah, and we're white labeling for some colleges to be able to have this on their platform. We're going to be able to plug into some other places, but there are many colleges and universities that are adding this into integrative programs, like John Patrick University, putting it into the School of Integrative Nutrition and Medicine, and they're also doing a master's in endocannabinology. Coming next year. And I'll be participating in that with the Institute of Cannabis Medicine. But there's, going to be University of Maryland has a Master's of Science in cannabis now. And they're, so it's happening. It's happening. University of San Diego is working with Greenflower Media to do a certificate program. University of California, Riverside has their certificate program. So this is happening. So, but what my program does is it takes literally boots on the ground and personal research I've done to apply this clinically into medicine for years. And as you saw, it has industry information and the mentoring and coaching and the business development on how to really incorporate this. So
that's a huge
why I'm saying mine is a little bit special because it gives them more.
It absolutely is. Yeah, I think that it's got all those missing pieces. That how do you start a business once you've got this knowledge? And yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I think that it's phenomenal, and I'm really excited to hear about it and to share this. You've given me a resource now because, yeah, I connect with people that are interested. I just talked to a nurse that was interested in green nursing, and now I have a place to say, hey, you can just go plug in right here and be on your way. So thank you.
Yeah.
Great job.
Well, thank you. I'm out to change the paradigm of healthcare in America and to do my part. And so, I pray every morning, and that's how I start my day. And I just kind of feel like God tells me what to do all day long. And this is what I've made. So God bless you. Happy holidays to you. Thank you for this hour to come and share my work.
Enjoyed every minute. Yeah. And I was going to say that your background and all the different experiences you've had in life seem to have contributed to making it a holistic program. So blessings and thank you very much. And we know where to find you. You are on, so it's holisticcaring.com, and you're on Facebook, you're on Instagram, and let's see, I think YouTube, you're not on YouTube.
Yeah, I don't know if you're gonna, I just put my about us in the chat. So
okay,
if you just
I will put it,
.com, you could click on any of those links on the website and get to our Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn, Twitter, and all that I really try to ignore, but I have Tasha for that.
I hear you. I will make sure that when I go back with the video, I'll put all this in the notes so people can find it. All right. Thank you so much. Live from the market, we're signing out. Thank you, Elisabeth Mack. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.